Okay, PSA came out with an announcement. They're finally giving us grader notes. Now, they released a message, they emailed it right to me, and they emailed it probably to a lot of you. So I wanted to look at their message, I wanted to look at their new policy and get an idea for what it actually says and what the announcement doesn't say. So let me just start by saying, again, there are going to be people that say, oh, you're pro PSA, you're pro SGC, you're anti-grading. Let me tell you where I stand. About 2/3 of my collection that are graded are in PSA holders. I have made multiple submissions to PSA. About 1/3 of my graded cards are in SGC holders. I've made multiple submissions to SGC. A lot of my collection is ungraded. I leave them ungraded because I like them as they are. So, who does that put me in charge? Who does that put me on the side of? I don't know, but that's where I stand. So, that is sort of my disclaimer before we start. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the announcement, and let's talk about what it says and what it doesn't say. Let's go.
What got between you and a PSA 10? Was the edge frayed? Was the corner bent, discoloration, or a microscopic dent? You want to know why the grade is the grade, and we've taken note.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just taking note. I'm just taking note. Now, who wants to know what grade it received and why it received the grade? Who received that? Is it the submitter? Or is it the potential buyer later on? Because I think that anybody who has the card or has interest in obtaining the card probably wants to know why the card received the grade that it did, right? I mean, they've taken note that people want to know. So, of course, then they would share with us and the potential buyers why the card got the grade that it did. Well, actually not. The only people who received the grader notes, according to their policy, which, by the way, their policy tells you on the website, as you submit your submission, you have to check to agree to their policy, which says that you won't share the grader notes or publicize the grader notes in any way. So the only person who gets to see the grader notes is the person who submits the card. Now, that's troubling to me because, PSA goes on and on about their guarantee, right? Their PSA guarantee. They have a whole page on their website about the PSA guarantee. So why do you have a guarantee? Now, the guarantee, remember this. If you submit a card to PSA, you are not able to utilize the guarantee. The guarantee is only for the secondary buyer. So PSA has protections in place to protect the secondary buyer. So the guarantee is not for the submitter. The guarantee is for the card in the holder for potential buyers. Yet, in their description, if you actually read the policy says that I'm not allowed to share or publicize or, post the grader notes. They're private for the submitter. My question is why? Why can only the submitter see the notes, and why am I not allowed to share it? If PSA's job, they're saying their guarantee is protect the future buyer. Why wouldn't you allow me, the future buyer, to see why the card got the grade that it got? Why does the seller, the person who now has the card, why did they get to see why the card got the grade that it got? But I didn't. Why? Let's think about that as we keep watching.
For the first time in PSA history, we're going to show the work with grader notes, starting with express level service and above for trading card submissions. When results are ready for review, grader notes show the work with a spotlight on the usual suspects. Corners, edges, surface, and centering. But what you really want to see is what the trained eye sees.
what the trained eye sees? What we really want to see is what the trained eye sees. What we really want to know is what is the training of the trained eye? Like, what is that training? If it's a trained eye, if you're now bragging to us that the trained eye sees things that the rest of us don't see, why won't you share with us what the training is? How long is the training? What things do you share? Which things do you teach? Is that proprietary? Is that what it is? Evaluating a corner and teaching how to evaluate a corner and what the deduction is for a corner is proprietary? Is that why you won't share with us what the training is? Why won't you share with us what the amount of training is, the amount of time? Because I did a recent video and, PSA pays their entry-level graders $17 an hour. Now, in the state of California, right now, as we are in June, the guy that works at McDonald's, the minimum wage for the guy that works at McDonald's right now, or Burger King, or Jack in the Box, or whatever fast food restaurant, is $20 an hour. So the trained eye that is making $3 an hour less than the guy working the fry station at McDonald's, the things that he sees that the rest of us don't, because it's a trained eye. What I want to know is, what's the training? What's the qualification of the person who is certifying my card and evaluating my card with grader notes that only the submitter is allowed to see? Only the submitter is allowed to see the notes of the $17 an hour employee. Okay.
Hit the drop down for the next level of what and where. Edges, fraying center right, surface, discoloration front, centering, back, top to bottom. Trading card flaws in all their forms noted for your enlightenment.
Oh my gosh. I'm not an English major. I'm not a communications major. I don't work in a PR department. But I'm not sure if enlightenment was the term I would have used there. Oh, thank you for enlightening me. There's not a different word, because if we want to talk about being enlightened, here's the enlightenment we would like. We would like you to walk us through step by step the entire grading process. Take a single card. Don't give me a clip here and a clip there. Walk me through the whole thing. Make a documentary on it. Show me exactly what that looks like. The whole room full of graders. Not the grader who's been there for 5 years and talking to them for a second. Enlighten me on the process. Enlightening me on the amount of training that the person has received. How about we enlighten future buyers on the grader notes for the card that just got graded and the grader notes are available? See, I want to know this. Now, if you're really here as a company to protect buyers, because to me, that's one of the biggest pieces of what grading does. Grading protects future buyers. If it's in a PSA holder, it's been authenticated by a professional. What that professional makes, we don't know. What their training is, we don't know. And now we've even got grader notes as to why it received the grade. But the only people allowed to see this secret information is the person who submitted it. How does that protect future buyers? Why wouldn't that be in the database when you pull up the card and you see the scan of the card? Why wouldn't the grader notes be there? Explain to me. PSA, you're welcome to come on. You're welcome to come on my channel. I know you don't want to come on my channel. I get it. And I'm not even anti-PSA. I'm just trying to be logical here. I'm just trying to be honest here. Help me to understand. Why can't the grader notes be posted with the population, with the scan of the card, with the number higher, with the certification number, with the name of the card, why can't it be there? Wouldn't that better protect future buyers? Now, that makes you think, take a step back and go, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you? If you have this information, why is the person who made the submission not allowed to share it? Not allowed to publish it? Why is it not allowed to be on the website? Why would that be? See, now what you've done is you've given the submitter, the now owner of the card, information that nobody else gets. So say there's a micro wrinkle in the card. And the micro wrinkle of the card that nobody can see unless you have the Hubble telescope, which apparently we have at PSA headquarters. The only person who gets to know about the micro wrinkle is the guy who submitted the card. So now the guy who submitted the card, he puts it up for sale and he goes, looks undergraded, looks better, no idea why it's not a 9 and it only got a 4.5. I don't know. Resubmission candidate. But if it was on the, if the grader notes were on the website, then you couldn't do that. Then it would say, oh, micro wrinkle, top right-hand portion, right? So all you're doing is not protecting future buyers by not sharing the grader notes. So seriously, is it because you want somebody to buy a card that has a micro crease that you can't see, hoping that they crack it and resubmit it so you could get more submissions? Is that the reason that you want to hide that information from everybody except for the current owner? Because otherwise, I have no idea. I have no idea why you wouldn't share that information. Why is that information secret? Why is it secret? Share with me why it's secret. I really would be interested in knowing.
Unless the card is a PSA 10, in which case the only note you want is already on the label.
I will say this. This is what I will say. This is the good news that comes from this. PSA is listening, at least to a certain extent. You think they want to provide grader notes? You think that they want to do more work and have to have a process where they can share this and spend money on? They don't want to do this. They had it good, where they just submitted the grade and then that was it. And if you didn't like it, you'd resubmit it and you'd keep resubmitting. And then that way it made more in grading fees. They only did this because the card community demanded it. They demanded that they share grader notes. To me, that's the big takeaway here. The big takeaway is if we just hammer them enough to do the things that we all think and know that they should be doing, especially for the prices that they're charging, then, I mean, they're going to have to. So what this says is we have a voice. They may not listen closely to what we have to say, but they listen at least somewhat. So if we just keep beating the drum over and over, louder and louder and louder, they're going to have to cave on the things that we want. So what that says to me is we got to speak up. We have to speak up. This is a good step. Now let me say that. Kudos to PSA for doing this. Kudos for providing any amount of grader notes. That is better than nothing. But my question continues to be, who is the PSA guarantee there to protect? The submitter? Because remember, the submitter is not protected if it comes back that the card is counterfeit or something. It's the second buyer. So to me, that means the PSA guarantee is for future buyers. And it's one of the, and what they say all the time is it's one of the reasons their resale value is higher, because that PSA guarantee is the gold standard. Okay, I'll go along with that for a minute. But if the PSA guarantee is the gold standard, why not protect future buyers before they buy it? By allowing them to access the greater notes publicly on your website, off of your app, before I buy the card. Because if I have a card on eBay, I go, man, that card looks nice. Let me pull it up. Yep, that's the same card. Serial numbers match. Images match. Why did it only get a 4.5? Oh, it's because on the back, there's a bunch of wax I can't see from this picture. And there's some printer marks up by his face that I didn't notice. Now I see them. I'm protected. That's my take. So kudos to PSA for a good first step. Now I think we all need to pile on to pressure them to do the right thing, which is make the greater notes public on the website. Because that would actually protect people that are future owners of cards graded by PSA, which is, I thought, what the PSA guarantee was all about.